Okay, let's have a look. I got something with a connection. Let's try to make it better for some reason. Boom, 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 boom. Okay. Okay, we'll try again. Okay, so I just put this thing together like today, earlier today, and these are pretty much the first notes that I play on it. And I'm really happy to share them with you because this thing's possibly going to be with me for a very long time. I started liking it a lot even before it was in one piece, and that's quite a funny story of boredom and trying to cope with lockdown. So basically what I did is I found some scrap wood in a corner of my garage, and these were like half-inch by 1.5 wide, very long pieces of wood that I just chopped into shorter pieces, and I just glued them together. So maybe it's gonna be a bit clear here on this gum. There are 19 of them. It looks like a chopping board. So these are tiny little pieces of wood. There are plenty of them. So I glued them in chunks. I put them together. I sanded them down and made a guitar shape out of them. And because I wanted to go for this sort of distressed look, I used wood stain and some oil and even watercolor paints, just to make it a little bit irregular and not uniform kind of finish. So it even has this little brighter stripes in here, which are nothing else than just CA glue. It's a super glue that I glued the pieces of wood together. And this is my pug yapping. Anyway, I'm gonna eat her tomorrow, so no worries. So the thing is that I started liking this thing a lot, and I went for the very minimalistic idea of having just one pickup for a very particular reason. This thing gives me great control over tone without having a pickup getting in the way of my thumb pick whenever I play with fingers. So I can adjust my tone just by placing my plucking hand. So it's really, really great thing. I can go from a very short and snappy sound way up to a more gentle, more softer sound. So what I have in here is just volume and tone control. I plan to use the switch for a couple of options with wiring, so that I could bypass controls altogether, so that the pickup just goes straight to the jack. But so far it's just stuck because I wanted to rush and just put this guitar together and have a look how it sounds, and iron out a couple of kinks that are there that are usually pop up when you put this kind of guitar with new parts that needs to break in. So I had to recut the nut, because usually nut is a place where there might be some problems with not only with tuning but with tone in general. And also bridge saddles, well, they came stock with this bridge. It was like a, I don't know, $8 bridge from Amazon. So I'll possibly replace those saddles with something a bit more flat, because they also have a little buzz to them. But again, the longer I play it, they tend to break in, and they tend to sound better and better. So I'm really happy with this thing. It does everything I want it to do. So with tone control, I can go for this old lap steel thing. I got nice volume swells, nice shape of the volume knobs that are I'm quite specific about the shape of the knobs. I want this sort of domed knobs in contrast with the ones that you see everywhere on these cheap control panels that have like a sharp edge, and they don't look right. They just look very, very generic. So that's usually the first thing that I get rid of. But other than that, this thing turned out really, really nice. It's although I had to take it apart once because I had to install the pickup, and I already put the strings to make sure that the most difficult part of the build went the way I planned it. And the easiest way to screw things up is to miss the center line. And whenever I cut the neck bucket, there are plenty of ways that it can go wrong, because tiny little angle off usually means quite a huge deflection in terms of where the nut is situated against the bridge, and thing can go off very, very easily. Of course, there's nothing that wouldn't be easily fixed, but I wanted to go with as precise way of coping with things as possible. So I basically had to measure, figure out and calculate the center line, because on this kind of body there isn't really a flat surface, because I cut this without any templates. It was almost all by hand, and then I just used router to get the shapes right. But when it comes to neck pocket, because this body's slightly bigger, it's like maybe 1/8 of an inch each side bigger than actual Telecaster. And it's just because I didn't have templates. I had to make my own templates, so I just drew around actual Telecaster, then I cut it from a chipboard, then I use this as a template. So it was like a third generation. There is always a way here and there where dimensions can slip, but it kind of worked surprisingly well, and I'm really, really glad that the neck pocket worked just fine. And the center line is spot on. It's right in between dots. The bridge is straight. and the strings are over the bowl pieces as they should. So for a second build that I made, I'm quite happy with it. Yes, with this is just a single pickup. That's absolutely intentional, because I wanted to go with this sort of very basic rootsy idea that early Fender Esquires had. So there isn't even a routing for a second pickup in this body. I didn't do it. It was from very beginning till the very end. I wanted this thing to be just a twang machine with nothing getting in a way, and also it was a more like a, maybe not an exercise piece, because this is the guitar that is gig worthy, and I mean, as long as I get strap buttons, because right now there's absolutely no way that I can stand with it and play. But yes, I'm gonna gig with it, and I'm gonna gig the hell out of it until it's I don't know. Well, it won't get any more wear than it actually has. It's stained and waxed, so it already looks like it's been used a lot, although it's just made this way. So it's intentionally looks rough around the edges, but it feels nice. It has this sort of glossy sheen. I can make it. I can actually buff it to make it a bit more shiny, but I don't really care that much. But yeah, I wanted to have plenty of room in the picking area, because on Telecaster, the one that is right behind me, which is a modified glare guitar, I did plenty of work to it, and I actually dig it. This is a guitar that I used the most for last 4 or 5 months. So what is in there? I got the Epiphone humbucker in the neck position, but it comes in a way, and I keep pinging on it. I keep plucking it with my pick, and it goes through the amplifier. So I just wanted to have plenty of room for my picking hand, just in this particular area. So right now, I can make it a little bit gentle. Or I can go full scream mode. So yep, that's my build number 1, and I'm absolutely happy with it. There's nothing that I wouldn't change, just a couple of tweaks here and there, and it's gonna stay like that, and it won't get a second pickup ever. And here I got my first build, which is a baritone that I made, and this thing is made from all the wrong materials that you wouldn't expect the guitar to be built of at all. So what it is, this is a 27-inch baritone, and the tunings that it can handle are from pretty much from A flat, maybe G with the right string gauge, up to C, I'd say. It's still comfortable to play. But the thing that it is made from stud work from Homebase. The Homebase is a equivalent of Home Depot in US, so this is like a DIY and gardening center. So again, this is a very soft pine, and I made a frame out of it and just put a top and bottom deck made of quarter. Well, it's 8-inch thick MDF. So it's a very, very soft material, and it's just to cover top and bottom. Everything that is in here is mounted to the wooden frame that is underneath. So this thing is quite bendy because of that, which means it's very easy to throw out of tune just by wagging it around. But sound-wise, this thing also turned quite well. Yeah, I think I'll just plug it in and have a go. Yep. And the problem with the red guitar is that because it is basically made of well, no, actually I use this tiny little Dunlop thumb pick, and it's perfectly sized for what I use. I tend to have it a little bit further down the thumb, so it's not exactly where the pick would be, but it works quite well for me. So this right now it's tuned to B, but I think I can go to A quite easily. So, because this guitar is not rigid construction-wise, it tends to. It's very easy to do this sort of neck. Yeah, my squeaky chair, but in general, it's very easy to vibrate the neck, mainly because there's just a centerpiece going here. Down to the bridge, but it's a softwood, which is not really a problem, because basically while tuning it just acts a little bit like a guitar with the Floyd Rose. I mean, you drop one string, the other strings go sharp. But other than that, I'd say this thing works quite well for a baritone, really. So that's the trick, that because the tuning is lower, certain chords and certain intervals tend to clash together in the lower registers. So this thing is not that great as a comping instrument unless there are spread chords, but they're a little bit hard to intonate in general. I went for this sort of wrap over bridge. Possibly I'll swap it for something else. Maybe I'll just put a regular tune-o-matic and a trapeze tailpiece, because basically there is nothing I could drill into from about here, so regular stop bar wouldn't work. But and it goes up and up and up. Whenever whichever string I tune down, everything goes up. So that's one of the major problems with it. So it does the TikTok thing. And it really works great. Well, let me see if I have my... I don't want to trip over my mic cable that I'm tethered with onto my desk. Yep, that should do. So here, if I turn my reverb up, so it's maybe a bit over the top right now because I basically I cranked the tremolo all the way up. And plenty of top end also helps. And so on and so forth, and I could twang it all day long, you know, just on these two bottom strings. It pretty much So this is pretty much what I had in mind when I built this thing, just to make it like a melody guitar for very low parts. Nothing that I would use on a daily basis pretty much, or as a main instrument. So I didn't want to buy like a proper baritone, because that would possibly be just, you know, putting too much money in something that I would use from time to time. And it does pretty much everything I need and want. And most possibly in the upcoming future I'll just put way heavier set on it, because this thing is 40 to 68, which is, well, it's a set that I used to tune to E on a regular guitar, so it's nothing really that would put proper tension on this guitar, especially for the lower tunings, right? So right now it's this thing is in A standard, so it's A, D, E, A, C sharp, A. But as one more cool use, I'll just get all the effects out of the way. So put the tremolo out and turn it a little bit down, because of the low tuning, I can kind of fake backing, something that I used to do with this octabass idea when I had guitar strings for first 4 strings and bass strings for E and A. It was a little bit muddy, it was a little bit unclear, it wasn't too stable, but it gave me this possibility of having a bass and guitar backing in one. This thing is a little bit different because it's way clearer. There are still tuning issues, and I mean there's no wonder why, because it's relatively short scale for the pitch, and it will just go out of whack. It will go sharp, mainly because of the string gauge, right? So what I can actually do with this one, I can play low backing. So it kind of does something a little bit more than a regular guitar in terms of backing, and you know, just goes slightly deeper. Also, it doesn't sound bad in terms of like just regular finger picking thing. I'd say this is acceptable, although it sounds dark on its own. So I'd say this is bridge pickup that should be twangy and bright. As I said, it's okay. It's not as bright as you'd expect. This is neck pickup. And I keep slamming it with my thumb. There's just not too much room. The thing is that this is a 24 fret neck and goes quite far out. I mean, this neck actually would work on a regular Telecaster body, and it would end up working as a baritone neck, but still with the pickup placement that I chose that sounded the best, it's just, you know, this neck pickup just gets in the way. There's very little room to keep the thumb pick away. Here both pickups. So it's a little bit tricky to control. That's the other thing. I'm even thinking about getting rid of this neck pickup and just putting a pick guard on top of the hole, because again, there's nothing that I can do. There's no position that I can move it anywhere further and back, and other than that, there's a huge hole underneath anyway, because this is Dog Ear P90, but it doesn't float on top of the body. It needs a certain proper routed hole to make it at the right height. So that's one of these things. But again, this was more like a test bed to see if I can make a usable guitar out of completely wrong materials. So yeah, the paint job is very shabby. It looks like it has plenty of pitting, because as the paint and primer dried, the MDF top basically was starting picking the moisture from the air, and it just became completely sagged and uneven. And no matter how much primer or wood filler I would put on top of that, it would just go bendy all over the place and warp and everything. And the back is even worse. But yeah, I'm really happy with this thing. So easy to vibrate. I mean, not only because of the string tension that is quite low, so every tiny little movement, just a slight difference in a touch and down pressure makes the chords out of tune, and it's very easy to do the classical like vibrato. or just vibrate the whole thing, and also also it's gonna work just fine. So yeah, this thing will possibly get some love, some more work done to it. And meanwhile, yep, this is. Let's go back to. Yep. Yep. So that's the new toy, and I. So this thing is, you know, something that really made my day. When I put it together, when I put the pickup in, although this is not the pickup that I wanted to put in it initially, because I ordered one from Croatia, from Q Pickups, but right now the shipping times are quite long. It's not their fault, I'm still waiting for it. So I just got whatever I could get the quickest, and it popped through my door yesterday. It's just a Tone Rider pickup. It's £30 here, so it's possibly the cheapest that you can get, you know, from like a quality, predictable pickup that I could source pretty much locally. So this thing just took like one day to get shipped, and there's like a little bit hotter single coil, so it's not as bright, which is fine. So once the pickup from Croatia arrives, I'm gonna put another guitar together, and it's gonna be this thing. So here is the body. The body is already sanded, oiled, and waxed, so it's gonna look like that. And this thing is gonna be a single pickup as well. But will have six saddles bridge and 21 fret neck that I should get tomorrow. So possibly little by little, this thing also is gonna get some time and some use with me, and I'm quite happy how it turned out, because it was covered in some sort of weird orange sunburst. It was poly finish, and this thing is awful when you sand it. I mean, it's just a pure poison. It's, you know, it smells really bad. It gets in your eyes and nose and everything, and so it took me like a week to sand it down, and I'm glad I did, because right now it just again looks like one of these distressed guitars that have stories behind them. The problem is that right now I need to come up with some stories. I need to take them on the road and do something with them. So yeah, this tiny little, not actual barn door, but home base pine chopping board style. I wish that the top of the guitar was as nice as the back is, but you know, unfortunately it was already cut in shape when I realized that the bottom looks way better than top. So I decided to keep it the way it is. And yeah, so far I'm really happy with it. All right. thanks everyone for joining me today, and just wanted to share. I wanted to share my new guitars. That's what you do, I guess. Especially when you make them from something that would end up in a skip. So, yep. Thanks everyone for watching, and we'll be back with more guitar and instructional stuff, possibly tomorrow or who knows when. Soon, anytime, anyway. Okay, so have a great evening everyone, wherever you are, and take care.